Welcome to today's mail bag. We didn't do it yesterday because our little buddy Manifesto there with the parsnip around his neck had to go to the vet to get his eye checked because his eye was all swollen up yesterday. But it's looking much better today. It's almost 100% normal. Not quite, but almost. And that's why he's still wearing the collar. We want him to heal up 100% before he starts sticking his claws back in his eye. So he's almost good, though. I bet by tomorrow he won't even have to wear it. The kids all got their spays and neuters this week. They did great. The vet checked them out, said they were perfectly healthy. They got their vaccines. Now, for the people that are adopting the kittens, you should know that the kittens are all due for one more vaccine after adoption, so you'll want to set that up with your vet. They just need the final booster for their distemper vaccine, which they're supposed to have 3 of, and so far they've had 2 of. So it would just be a few more weeks. Usually want to get them like 4 to 6 weeks apart, I think. And they had their last one when they got fixed. So if you sort of plan for that, you can set up an appointment with your vet. And for those of you that aren't on our Discord, which, by the way, I should check to make sure I can be heard. All right. Yeah, the color that's off on that camera, it's probably the infrared filter, which sometimes when the camera gets dropped, the infrared filter can get out of alignment. But usually when you reboot the camera like we did, that gets reset. I'm going to have to check the firmware to see if it's set to reset that or not. If it is set to reset it and it still looks purple like that, then when they drop the camera on the floor, they broke the infrared filter, and it's always going to look bad like that from now on forever. In which case, we'll just have to replace it with another camera. But that's what's going on there. That color is really distinctive for when the camera is picking up infrared that normally would be filtered out. So what you're actually seeing, this is kind of interesting in a way, you're actually seeing a little bit further into the infrared part of the spectrum than you ordinarily would, I guess, which is interesting in its own way. Well, that's the big news. The big news is that the kittens got their spays and neuters. Our little guy is wearing his collar because he injured his face, but he's recovering very well. He's almost perfectly fine again. The kittens are all healthy. They're recovering just great from their surgeries, so I don't expect any trouble for their adopters to pick them up. And almost all of the adoptions are scheduled for this upcoming weekend. On the 21st-ish, so that's when we expect for most of the kids to go home. And as I think I mentioned before, but it bears repeating, we're going to take the first break that we've taken intentionally in 10 years of doing Kitten Academy. And I know after a decade of doing Kitten Academy, taking a break seems like a huge change, but just look at it from this perspective of It's not that it's such a huge change, it's that this is sort of where we always wanted to be, and we've been sort of stuck, with DJ and her schooling and stuff for the last 10 years. Our whole lives have kind of been put on hold. It doesn't mean that we want to do Kitten Academy any less, and it doesn't mean that we will, stop doing Kitten Academy or anything like that. That's not the plan. The plan is for us to keep on doing it just like always. We're just taking a very short break from having any new kittens in so that we can go to, I think Vegas is the plan, right before Christmas, and I've never been, so that should be fun. And that's really all. We'll get a new mom cat in right after that, I think. That'll be the plan anyway. And we'll see how it goes. Thank you. You're going to have some time, like I said. We've got probably a solid month before we bring in the new mom cat. And what I wanted to say but didn't say is that for any of you that are Patreons but don't come on the Discord, may not know, I'm planning on skipping the Patreon billing for that entire month because I don't want people to be charged if there's nothing here for them to enjoy watching, even though we all know that the donations through Patreon you were never donating to watch the stream. That's always been free for everybody. It was always about helping the kittens, and I know a lot of you have written to me to say I still want to help the kittens even though they aren't there right now. We know you keep money, aside to pay for unexpected medical expenses and that kind of thing. I really appreciate it. I think that's super sweet of you, but I just don't think it's the right thing for me to do. That's all there is to it, So. Promise, we're not going to make you wear both of these for very long. because it's too silly and it's too cute, just like you. You're silly and cute. Boy, he spent the night in the bedroom with us without anybody else in there because, he's getting pampered. And he is just a cute little guy. I don't know what else to say. He's so, first off, what I can say is that when he is running around with this collar on the last couple days, the last, day and a half, he can't be away from me for like a second. I guess he's starting to get used to it because he was down here this morning without me, but otherwise he's been following me around like a puppy. And last night when I put him in the bedroom, I had to go out and put away some laundry and some other stuff. So I kept leaving the bedroom to do something, and then I'd come right back. But every time I would leave, he would just go to the door and cry. Like even if I was only gone for 20 seconds, he would be at the door crying his little heart out. And then I'd come in and he'd be fine again. So it's just really sweet how much he wants to be around his people, his persons, his little chosen people. I know that once he meets his adopter this coming weekend, he's just going to have the best life with him. Him and Bro both are going to do so well. Every adopter this time, it's just, I couldn't have asked for a better first class here in Pennsylvania. It's fantastic. As far as the kittens go and as far as the adopters go, it's just wonderful all around.
I've been trying to get my drones going, and I know this is neither here nor there, but you might end up hearing or seeing those around the house a little bit because I got my tiniest little drone, the one that I use for practice flying indoors. I got that working finally, and I did a couple laps around the living room yesterday just to make sure that it was working, and these kids are fearless. Like, the minute that I turn that thing on, they are all running to investigate it, even though it's kind of noisy. It sounds like a whole hive of bees, like angry. And you'd think they would be afraid of it, especially when it starts moving. But no, they are all really interested and chased it around the room. Like I would fly it all the way down the hallway and then around and back again, and they would be running both ways, even little buddy with his peach on. So fearless. These kids have no fear. They have no common sense. Fortunately, that tiny little drone is safe. That's why I fly it inside around cats. It's it's got these propellers that are the tiniest little things, and then even though they're so small, they're also protected by little ducts, so you couldn't accidentally come in contact with them. So it's safe, but they don't know it's safe. It's also really loud and fast, and they should be afraid. And they're not the slightest bit afraid of it. They're like, no, we got to catch that thing. So that might be fun later, too. Fun for me. See you guys.